The galaxy had given up. Then humanity stepped in to save them. All Part 1, First Contact in Desperation. The stars were dying. One by one they blinked out across the galaxy, leaving only darkness behind. The oldest races in the universe had tried everything they knew. Nothing worked. The Void Eaters, strange creatures made of dark energy, kept eating stars and planets. No weapon could hurt them. No shield could block them. After 1,000 years of fighting, the galaxy was giving up hope. Lisa Hartman yawned as she checked the sensors on her ship, the Defiant. Space was quiet today, just like yesterday and the day before. Earth had only started sending people to the stars 50 years ago. The Defiant was one of their best ships, but its mission was simple. Look around, take notes, come home. Lisa and her crew of 20 had been in deep space for 3 months without finding anything interesting. "Captain, I'm picking up something." "Strange," said Jack Miller, looking up from his control panel. His eyes were wide with surprise. "It's some kind of signal, but not like anything I've seen before." Lisa walked over to his station. "Show me." The screen displayed a pulsing pattern. It wasn't random noise. "Someone or something had made this on purpose. Can we tell where it's coming from?" Lisa asked. "Yes, Captain. About 2 light years from here. The signal is weak, like it's been traveling for a long time." Lisa thought for a moment. Their orders were to stick to their planned route. But this was the first sign of alien life humans had ever found. How could they ignore it? "Change course," she said. "Let's find out who's calling." The crew looked at her with a mix of excitement and fear. No human had ever met an alien before. "What if it's a trap?" asked Maria Cole, the ship's doctor. "Then, we'll deal with that when we get there," Lisa said. "But what if someone needs our help?" It took 3 days to reach the source of the signal. They found a small silver ship floating near a dying red star. The star's light was dim, its energy almost gone. "The ship is sending out a new message," Jack said. "Our computers are trying to translate it." After a few minutes, words appeared on the screen. "Help us, you are our last hope." Lisa ordered the Defiant to move closer. As they approached, a beam of light shot from the silver ship to theirs. Suddenly, a face appeared on their main screen. It wasn't human. The creature had silver skin, 4 eyes, and small, moving parts around its mouth. But its expression was clear even to humans. It was surprised. "You responded to our beacon," the alien said in perfect English. The ship's computers were translating in real time. "We sent thousands of messages into unexplored space. We never expected to find a new species, especially one so young." "I'm Captain Lisa Hartman of the Earth ship Defiant," Lisa said, trying to keep her voice steady. This was history happening right before her eyes. "Who are you, and why do you need help?" "I am Zeltaz, ambassador of the Galactic Council. Our civilization spans 10,000 worlds and has existed for millions of your years." The alien's voice was sad despite the impressive introduction. "And we are losing a war we cannot win." Over the next hour, Zeltaz explained about the Void Eaters. They had appeared 3,000 years ago when a science experiment went wrong. At first, they were small and few, eating only tiny amounts of energy. But they grew and multiplied. Now they were consuming entire star systems. "The Council has tried everything," Zeltaz said. "Our weapons pass through them. Our shields cannot stop them. They are not alive in any way we understand, so we cannot kill them." "Why reach out to unknown species?" Lisa asked. "What can we possibly do that you haven't tried?" "Because everyone else has failed," Zeltaz said simply. "Sometimes, fresh, I see what ancient ones cannot. Our oldest scientists are set in their ways. They cannot imagine new solutions." Lisa thought about Earth. Humans had only recently stopped fighting each other long enough to look to the stars. They were babies, compared to the Galactic Council. But they were good at solving problems and finding new ways to do things. "I need to contact Earth," she told Zeltaz. "This is too big for me to decide alone." The alien nodded. "I understand, but please hurry. 2 more star systems were lost while we've been talking." Using special technology from Zeltaz, the Defiant sent a message to Earth that arrived almost instantly. The response was just as quick. "Bring the alien to Earth." All nations are working together on this. When they arrived at Earth a week later, the United Nations had already assembled a team of scientists and military leaders from every country. Dr. Alan Wright, a physicist known for thinking outside the box, led the team. Zeltaz spoke to the gathered humans in a large meeting room at the UN building in New York. He showed them images of the Void Eaters, swirling clouds of darkness that seemed to bend light around them. He showed videos of mighty alien warships firing weapons that simply disappeared into the dark clouds without effect. "Why us?" someone asked. "We're centuries behind you in technology." "Because you are different," Zeltaz said. "All council species think alike after sharing knowledge for so long. You developed alone. You think in ways we cannot." Dr. Wright studied the data carefully. Something about the way the Void Eaters moved caught his attention. "They're not just eating energy," he said suddenly. "They're eating patterns, information." The room went quiet as everyone turned to look at him. "What do you mean?" Zeltaz asked. "Look how they move." Dr. Wright pointed to a video. "They avoid certain types of stars. They follow specific paths. They're not just hungry, they're picky eaters. They want certain information patterns." For the first time, a spark of hope appeared in Zeltaz's 4 eyes. "If that's true," the alien said, "then perhaps we can create information they cannot digest, a pattern that disrupts them." Dr. Wright nodded excitedly. "Exactly. And who better to create new unexpected patterns than humans? We've been doing it in our music, art, and mathematics for thousands of years." Lisa Hartman watched as the scientists began working frantically. Earth was being asked to save a galaxy that didn't even know humans existed a week ago. It seemed impossible. But if there was one thing humans were good at, it was doing the impossible when everyone else had given up. The galaxy had given up, then humanity stepped in to save them all. Part 2. The unlikely solution. The United Nations building buzzed with activity day and night. Teams of scientists from every country worked around the clock studying the data Zeltaz had shared. They set up a special room filled with screens showing the Void Eaters moving through space, eating stars and planets. Dr. Alan Wright hardly slept. His assistant, Samantha Collins, brought him coffee and sandwiches, making sure he ate something at least once a day. She was young, only 28, but her mind worked in strange ways that most scientists couldn't follow. That's why Alan had hired her. "Look at this pattern again," Alan said, pointing to a screen. "The Void Eaters always move in this same way, like a dance." Samantha nodded. "I noticed that too. It reminds me of music." Alan looked at her with surprise. "Music?" "Yes. The way they pulse and move. It's like they're following a beat we can't hear." This gave Alan an idea. He called in experts who studied sound and music, not just scientists but musicians too. They watched the Void Eaters move and tried to find patterns. Meanwhile, Zeltaz met with world leaders to explain how serious the problem was. The alien showed them maps of the galaxy with thousands of dead stars marked in red. "These stars died in just the last 100 years, Zeltaz said. "The Void Eaters are getting faster. If we don't stop them, they will reach your solar system in less than 50 years. The room went quiet. 50 years wasn't very long for a civilization. "What do your people expect from us?" asked the President of the United States. "We don't have ships that can travel between stars like you do. We don't have your weapons." "We don't need your ships or weapons," Zeltaz replied. "Those haven't worked. We need your ideas, your different way of thinking." Back in the science lab, Samantha made an important discovery. She had been studying old maps of where the Void Eaters had been. Something strange jumped out at her. "They avoided this whole area," she told Alan, pointing to a section of the galaxy. "Why would they skip all these stars?" Alan studied the map. "What's special about that area?" they asked Zeltaz, who checked with the Galactic Council's records. "That region had a strange radiation from a nearby pulsar," the alien explained. "It created an unusual field that affected communications. We fixed that problem 100 years ago." "Can you show us what that radiation pattern looked like?" Samantha asked. When they saw the pattern, Both Alan and Samantha got excited. "It's dissonant," Samantha said. "The frequencies don't match up in a way that makes sense. It's like bad music." Alan snapped his fingers. "That's it. The Void Eaters avoid patterns they can't process. If they eat information like you eat food, then we need to give them information that upsets their stomach." For the next week, they tested different patterns. They created sounds, light patterns, and mathematical sequences that no one had tried before. They called it cognitive dissonance, making patterns that didn't fit together properly. Zeltaz watched with growing hope. The other aliens on the council had tried using weapons and shields against the Void Eaters. No one had thought to use information itself as a weapon. "Your people are strange," Zeltaz told Lisa Hartman, who had been promoted for her discovery of alien life. "You make music and art just for enjoyment. Most species only create things with a clear purpose." "That's our strength," Lisa replied. "We find patterns everywhere, even when there aren't any. Sometimes it leads us down wrong paths, but sometimes we see things others miss." After 3 weeks of work, they were ready to test their idea. They needed a way to send their dissonant patterns directly at the Void Eaters. The aliens had technology that could help with that. "We have transmitters that can send signals across vast distances," Zeltaz explained. "We use them for communication between star systems." "Can they be modified to send our patterns?" Alan asked. "Yes, but we would need thousands of them placed throughout the galaxy," Zeltaz said, "and someone would need to control each one, adjusting the patterns as the Void Eaters react." This was a problem. The aliens didn't understand the patterns well enough to control them. Only humans could do that properly. "Then we'll send humans," said the Secretary General of the UN. "How many volunteers do we need?" "Thousands," Alan said. "Maybe tens of thousands." Everyone thought this would be a problem. How could they find so many people willing to travel across the galaxy, possibly never to return? They decided to make an announcement to the world. They explained the threat and what was needed. They asked for volunteers. The response shocked even Zeltaz. Within 1 day, over 1 million people volunteered. Within a week, the number grew to 10 million. People from every country, every walk of life stepped forward. "Why?" Zeltaz asked Lisa. "Why would so many offer to leave their homes, maybe forever?" Lisa smiled. "Because that's what humans do. When there's a fire, we run toward it, not away. When someone is drowning, we jump in to save them. It's how we've survived as a species." The Realm. Next challenge was choosing who would go. They needed people who understood music, mathematics, and patterns. They needed people who could think quickly and adapt to new situations. Samantha developed a test to find the best candidates. It measured how well people could recognize and create patterns. Millions took the test. The top 50,000 were selected for the mission. Training began immediately. The aliens provided small ships that could travel faster than light. Each ship could hold 20 humans and would carry one of the special transmitters. Alan and Samantha created what they called harmony weapons, devices that could generate the dissonant patterns and aim them at the Void Eaters. Each one had to be controlled by a human operator who understood how to adjust the patterns. "This is just the beginning," Alan told the first group of volunteers. "We don't know exactly how the Void Eaters will respond. You'll have to figure it out as you go." The launch day came 3 months after Zeltaz had first arrived on Earth. The first wave of 1,000 ships was ready. Each carried 20 brave humans ready to fight an enemy unlike any humanity had faced before. As the ships prepared to leave Earth, Zeltaz spoke to all the volunteers through a video link. "My people had given up hope," the alien said. "We thought the galaxy was doomed. Then we found Earth, a planet we didn't even know existed. You have given us hope again. Thank you." The ships lifted off, disappearing into the sky. Operation Harmony had begun. Humanity's fight to save the galaxy was underway. The galaxy had given up. Then humanity stepped in to save them. All Part 3. Operation Harmony Fleet Admiral Kate Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the lead ship, the Defender. Around her, alien ships from the Galactic Council moved into position. The human ships looked small next to the massive alien vessels, but they had something the aliens didn't: a way to fight the Void Eaters. All ships report ready, Admiral, said Lieutenant Daniel Harris. His hands moved quickly over the control panel as he spoke. Kate nodded. She was 45 years old and had spent her whole life in the Earth's Navy before being chosen to lead this mission. Nothing in her training had prepared her for commanding a fleet in deep space, fighting an enemy that wasn't even alive in any normal sense. Begin Operation Harmony, she ordered. The fleet moved toward the Centauri Nexus, a cluster of stars where Void Eaters had been spotted. It would be the first real test of the human solution. On each human ship, operators prepared their Harmony weapons. These devices looked simple, just a control panel with sliders and buttons, but they could generate complex patterns that the scientists hoped would disrupt the Void Eaters. Sam Porter sat at his Harmony station on the Defender. He had been a music teacher before volunteering for the mission. Now he was a weapon operator in humanity's most important battle. Void Eaters detected, announced the ship's computer. Distance, 2 light minutes in closing. On the main screen, everyone could see them. Dark shapes moving between the stars, leaving blackness behind them. They looked like holes in space itself, pulling in light and energy. All ships prepare to engage, Kate ordered. Remember your training. Start with pattern alpha, then adjust based on their response. Sam activated his Harmony weapon. Around him, hundreds of other operators on different ships did the same. The weapons didn't fire beams or bullets. Instead, they sent out waves of carefully designed patterns, mathematical sequences, music harmonies, and visual rhythms all combined into something the Void Eaters had never encountered before. At first, nothing seemed to happen. The dark shapes continued to move forward, heading toward the nearest star. No effect, Daniel reported, his voice tense. Kate didn't panic. Switch to pattern beta, she ordered. All ships, adjust your harmonies. Sam changed his pattern, making it more complex. He added what musicians call dissonance, notes that clash with each other in a way that sounds wrong to human ears. The other operators made similar changes. This time there was a reaction. The Void Eaters slowed. Their shapes seemed to waver, as if they were having trouble staying together. It's working, Daniel shouted. They're responding to the pattern. Everyone, on the bridge, cheered. For the first time in thousands of years, someone had found a way to affect the Void Eaters. But the victory didn't last long. After a few minutes, the dark shapes steadied themselves. They changed their own patterns, adapting to the human attack. Then they started moving forward again. They're learning, Sam said, his fingers dancing over his control panel as he tried to adjust. They're changing to avoid our patterns. This was something the scientists had worried about. If the Void Eaters could adapt, then any pattern would eventually stop working, Kate thought quickly. All operators switch to individual control, she ordered. Everyone create your own unique patterns. Don't coordinate with each other. This was risky. Without coordination, the patterns might interfere with each other. But Kate was betting on human creativity and unpredictability. Across the fleet, Harmony operators began creating their own patterns. Some used music they loved. Others used mathematical sequences they found beautiful. Each pattern was different, personal to the operator creating it. The effect on the Void Eaters was immediate. They couldn't adapt to hundreds of different patterns, all at once. Their shapes began to break apart, pieces of darkness floating away from the main bodies. It's working, Kate said. Press the attack. The fleet moved closer, surrounding the Void Eaters. The Harmony weapons poured out their dissonant patterns, forcing the dark entities to retreat. For 3 hours, the battle continued. The Void Eaters tried to adapt, but the human operators kept changing their patterns, never giving the enemy time to adjust. Finally, the dark shapes fled, moving away from the star cluster faster than the fleet could follow. We did it, Kate said, her voice filled with relief and pride. We saved the Centauri Nexus. Cheers erupted throughout the fleet. Humans and aliens celebrated together. For the first time, someone had won a battle against the Void Eaters, but their happiness didn't last long. Reports came in from other parts of the galaxy. The Void Eaters were attacking more aggressively in other places, as if angry about their defeat. They're learning faster than we expected, Kate told the council representatives during an emergency meeting. Our current approach won't work for long. We need something more powerful. Chief Engineer Ben Foster had an idea. What if we put the Harmony weapons right in the middle of a Void Eater swarm? The effect would be much stronger there. That would be a suicide mission, Kate said. No ship could survive inside a swarm. Not a ship, Ben agreed. But maybe a special pod with just one operator. The pods would be small enough to fly right into the heart of the swarm. Everyone went quiet as they realized what Ben was suggesting. Someone would have to pilot each pod, knowing they might never return. Who would volunteer for such a mission? Asked one of the alien representatives. Kate looked around at the human crew members. She knew what their answer would be before she even asked the question. We will, she said simply. That's what humans do. When Kate sent the message back to Earth explaining the new plan, she worried there would be objections. Instead, more volunteers stepped forward. Tell them we're ready, came the message from Earth. Humanity stands with the galaxy. The engineers worked day and night to build the special pods. Each one had room for just one operator and was packed with the most powerful Harmony weapon they could build. The pods were designed to fly directly into a Void Eater swarm and disrupt it from within. Captain Eric Wilson was chosen to lead the first wave of pod pilots. He had been a test pilot on Earth and was known for taking risks that others wouldn't. This mission is completely voluntary, Kate told the pilots before they launched. No one will think less of you if you choose not to go. Eric smiled. With respect, Admiral, we all volunteered knowing this might happen. We're ready. As the pods prepared to launch, Kate watched with a mixture of pride and sadness. These brave men and women were about to risk everything to save stars they would never visit and people they would never meet. That, she realized, was humanity's greatest strength. Not their technology or their weapons, but their willingness to sacrifice for others, even others who weren't human. The galaxy had given up hope. Then humanity stepped in. The galaxy had given up. Then humanity stepped in to save them all. Part 4. Sacrifice. The launch bay was quiet as Captain Eric Wilson climbed into his pod. Around him, 50 other volunteers were doing the same. These small vehicles were barely larger than a car. Each had just enough room for one person, life support systems, and the special Harmony weapon. All systems check, Eric said into his radio. His voice was calm, but his heart was racing. Pod Alpha ready for launch. One by one, the other pilots reported in. They were teachers, musicians, mathematicians, and ordinary people who had stepped forward when the galaxy needed them. None of them had been trained as soldiers or pilots before this mission began just a few months ago. From the command ship, Admiral Kate Rodriguez watched the final preparations. She wanted to say something, inspiring, something that would match the bravery of these volunteers, but no words seemed big enough for the moment. Pilots, she finally said, what you're doing today will be remembered as long as there are people to tell the story. The whole galaxy is watching. Good luck, and Godspeed. The bay doors opened, showing the blackness of space. In the distance, they could see the swirling darkness of the Void Eaters. This group was especially large, gathering around a dying star as they drained its life away. Launch all pods, Kate ordered. 51 small craft shot out from the Defender, flying straight toward the heart of the Void Eater swarm. Behind them, the main fleet held position, their Harmony weapons providing cover. Eric led the way, pushing his pod to its top speed. The faster they reached the center of the swarm, the better chance they had of disrupting it before the Void Eaters could adapt. Remember, he told the other pilots, once we're inside, keep changing your patterns. Don't let them predict what you'll do next. As they flew closer, they could see just how big the Void Eaters really were. Each one was the size of a small moon, with swirling darkness that seemed to pull in all light around it. They're beautiful in a scary way, said Amy Foster, one of the pilots flying near Eric. She had been a piano teacher before the Void Eaters came. Stay focused, Eric replied, though he felt the same way. There was something almost hypnotic about the swirling patterns. The pods flew straight into the swarm. Immediately, They felt the pull of the Void Eaters trying to drain energy from their ships. The hull temperature dropped rapidly as heat was sucked away. "Activate Harmony weapons," Eric ordered. All 51 pods began broadcasting their disruption patterns at once. Each pilot created their own unique sequence just as they had practiced. The effect was immediate. The Void Eaters around them began to shimmer and shake, their smooth darkness breaking up into rough pieces. "It's working," Amy called out. "They can't handle our patterns?" For a few minutes it looked like they might win easily. The Void Eaters were pulling back, unable to continue feeding while under attack from the Harmony weapons. Then something changed. The dark entities began to merge together, forming one massive Void Eater that dwarfed all the others. Its surface rippled with strange patterns, almost like it was trying to copy the human attacks. "They're adapting again," Eric said. "Everyone, change your patterns now." The pilots scrambled to create new disruptions, but this giant Void Eater was learning. Faster than the others had, it began to send out waves of its own, anti-patterns that canceled out the human attacks. "My weapon isn't working anymore," reported one pilot, his voice shaking with fear. "It's like it knows what I'm going to do before I do it." One by one, the pods began to lose power as the giant Void Eater drained them. The temperature inside dropped further. Emergency lights came on as main systems failed. "Fall back to the fleet," Eric ordered. "We need to regroup." But it was too late for many of the pods. Their engines were dead, leaving them floating helplessly in the middle of the swarm. The giant Void Eater moved closer, surrounding them. Eric watched his own power levels dropping fast. His Harmony weapon was still working, but its effect was getting weaker. The Void Eater had almost completely adapted to his patterns. Then he had an idea. A desperate, probably suicidal idea. But maybe the only chance they had. "All remaining pilots with working engines get back to the fleet," he ordered. "Tell them what happened here." "What about you?" Amy asked. Her pod was one of the few that still had some power. "I'm going to try something," Eric said. "Now go. That's an order." As the few working pods escaped, Eric turned his attention to his Harmony weapon. Instead of trying to disrupt the Void Eater from outside, he would do it from within. He set his pod on a direct course for the center of the giant entity. As he flew deeper into the darkness, he felt the cold increasing. Ice formed on the inside of his view screen. His breath came out in white clouds. "Admiral Rodriguez," he radioed back to the fleet. "I'm sending you the data from my sensors. This thing has a core, a central point where all the patterns meet. I think if we hit that with enough dissonance, we might be able to break it apart." "Eric, get out of there," Kate replied, her voice breaking up with static. "That's too dangerous." "No, time," Eric said. "My pod won't last much longer anyway. Better to use what power I have left to do some good." As he neared the center of the Void Eater, Eric poured all remaining power into his Harmony weapon. He created the most complex, chaotic pattern he could imagine, a mix of music, mathematics, and pure noise that followed no rules at all. At the same time, he sent a direct message to the other pilots who had been trapped with him. Many of their communication systems were still working, even if their engines weren't. "Everyone with any power left, do what I'm doing," he told them. "Create chaos. Don't follow any pattern at all." Across the swarm, trapped pilots followed his lead. Each created their own version of chaos, adding to the effect. At the center of the Void Eater, Eric saw something strange, a pulsing point of deeper darkness that seemed to be controlling the entire entity. He aimed his pod directly at it. "This is for Earth," he whispered, "and for every star these things have killed." His pod struck the core just as his Harmony weapon reached maximum power. The last thing Eric saw was a flash of light brighter than any star. Back on the Defender, Kate and her crew watched in amazement as the giant Void Eater suddenly exploded outward, breaking into thousands of smaller pieces that quickly dissipated into normal space. "They did it," Daniel said quietly. They actually did it. Among the debris, they detected a few intact pods. Rescue ships were sent immediately, but most of the brave pilots were already gone, their sacrifice saving countless lives across the galaxy. As news of the victory spread, more volunteers came forward. Humans from all walks of life, ready to follow in Eric's footsteps if needed. The galaxy had given up hope. Then humanity stepped in. The galaxy had given up. Then humanity stepped in to save them all. Part 5. A New Dawn. 1 year after Captain Eric Wilson and his brave team sacrificed themselves, the war against the Void Eaters was changing. The Harmony weapons had proven effective, especially when used by teams of human operators working together in unpredictable ways. The Void Eaters could adapt to patterns, but they couldn't adapt to pure chaos and creativity. Dr. Alan Wright stood on the observation deck of Harmony Station, a massive structure built at a safe distance from Earth. Through the window, he could see ships coming and going, some human, some alien, all working together. The latest reports show the Void Eaters retreating in 12 more sectors, said Samantha Collins, standing beside him. She had dark circles under her eyes from working long hours, but she was smiling. That makes 67 sectors cleared in the last month alone. Alan nodded. It was good news, but he wasn't satisfied yet. We're winning battles, but not the war. We need to find where these things came from and stop them for good. After studying the Void Eaters for months, Alan and his team had made a surprising discovery. The dark entities weren't just eating energy. They were trying to get home. They had come from another dimension, pulled into our universe by accident. Every star they consumed was an attempt to gather enough energy to tear open a hole back to their own world. Ambassador Zeltaz is here to see you, announced the station's computer. The alien entered the room, moving gracefully despite his strange body. After a year of working with humans, Zeltaz had gotten used to their ways. He even made jokes. Sometimes. Dr. Wright, Ms. Collins, he greeted them with a small bow. The Council has reviewed your findings. They agree with your theory about the origin of the Void Eaters. Alan wasn't surprised. The evidence was clear once they knew what to look for. Did they check the records from the experiment 3,000 years ago? Zeltaz nodded, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence. Yes, the scientists were trying to create a new faster-than-light drive. They tore a small hole between dimensions without realizing it. The first Void Eaters came through that hole. And now there are millions of them, all trying to get back home, Samantha said. They're not evil. They're just lost and desperate. This changed everything. Fighting the Void Eaters would never be enough. Even if humans won every battle, more would keep coming. The only permanent solution was to help them get home. We need to open a door for them, Alan said. A controlled gateway back to their dimension. Creating such a gateway would be incredibly difficult. It would require technology far beyond what humans had, and knowledge that even the Galactic Council didn't possess. But together, they might manage it. For 6 months, scientists from across the galaxy worked on the problem. Humans provided creative ideas and fresh approaches. The aliens provided advanced technology and centuries of scientific knowledge. Together, they designed a device they called the Doorway, a massive structure that could open a stable portal between dimensions. Building the Doorway required resources from 100 worlds. It was the largest project in the history of the galaxy, and every species contributed. Humans, despite being newcomers to space travel, led many of the key teams because of their unique way of thinking. Linda Owen, Earth's ambassador to the Galactic Council, worked tirelessly to coordinate the effort. She had been a diplomat on Earth before the Void Eaters came. Now she represented all of humanity to the most advanced civilizations in the universe. The Doorway is almost complete, she told the Council during a meeting on Harmony Station. We believe it will be ready to activate in 1 week. The Council members murmured among themselves. Some were excited, others nervous. Opening a gateway between dimensions was risky. If something went wrong, it could make the situation much worse. What if the Void Eaters don't go through? Asked one Council member, a being made of living crystal. What if they see it as a new food source instead? We've thought of that, Linda replied. Dr. Wright and his team have created a special harmony pattern that will guide them toward the Doorway. It's like a path of breadcrumbs leading home. The day of activation came. The doorway hung in space near the spot where the first Void Eaters had appeared 3,000 years ago. It was a ring of metal and energy larger than a small moon, with complex machinery extending from all sides. Ships from across the galaxy gathered to watch from a safe distance. On the command ship, Dr. Wright and Ambassador Zeltaz stood side by side as they prepared to activate the device. "Are you ready?" Zeltaz asked. Alan nodded. "As ready as we'll ever be." He pressed his hand against the control panel. Across the fleet, human operators activated their harmony weapons, creating a special pattern designed to attract the Void Eater's attention. The doorway hummed to life. Energy coursed through its structure, creating a swirling vortex at its center. The portal opened slowly, revealing a strange darkness beyond. Not the emptiness of space, but a different kind of emptiness, one that belonged to another universe entirely. For a moment, nothing happened. Then from all directions they saw the Void Eaters coming. They moved faster than ever before, streaming toward the doorway like rivers flowing to the sea. The first Void Eater reached the portal and paused. It hovered at the edge, as if testing the opening. Then it plunged through, disappearing into the other dimension. Others followed, first a few, then dozens, then hundreds. From across the galaxy, reports came in of Void Eaters abandoning the stars they had been feeding on, all heading toward the doorway. "They know," Samantha whispered. "They know it's the way home." For 3 days, the Void Eaters poured through the portal. The doorway held stable, channeling enough energy to keep the gateway open without collapsing. Finally, the last Void Eater passed through. Sensors confirmed what everyone hoped. There were no more of the dark entities left in the galaxy. Alan gave the order to shut down the doorway. The portal closed slowly, sealing the tear between dimensions. It was over. Across the galaxy, celebrations erupted. Species that had been enemies for thousands of years came together to mark the occasion. The threat that had united them was gone, but the bonds they had formed remained. 1 month later, the Galactic Council held a formal ceremony on Harmony Station. Humans were officially invited to join the council as a full member species. The youngest civilization ever granted that honor. Linda Owen accepted the invitation on behalf of Earth. "We didn't save the galaxy alone," she said in her speech. "We simply showed that even the most impossible problems can be solved when approached from a new perspective. Humanity's gift isn't superior technology or ancient wisdom. It's our refusal to give up, our willingness to sacrifice for others, and our ability to find hope when all seems lost." As the ceremony ended, Zeltaz approached Linda privately. "Your species still puzzles me," he admitted. "You were the least advanced civilization we contacted, yet you succeeded where civilizations thousands of years older had failed. Why?" Linda smiled. "Because sometimes the galaxy doesn't need another advanced civilization. Sometimes it just needs someone stubborn enough to try the impossible." Across the galaxy, stars that had dimmed under the Void Eater's influence began to shine brightly again. Planets that had been evacuated were slowly being resettled, and in Earth's night sky, new patterns of light could be seen. The navigation beacons of alien ships coming to learn from the species that had done what none thought possible. The galaxy had given up hope. Then humanity stepped in to save them all.